Thanks a lot, John. It is possible that no Speaker of the House in American government has ever walked so thin a tightrope as the 54th and current person holding that office. Paul Ryan finds himself now smack dab center in the middle of a blazing controversy over race, his chosen candidate to become president, and those in his own party experiencing a chasm-sized split over whether they need to be governed by their heads, telling them they must defeat Hillary Clinton at any cost, or the country is lost, or their hearts, telling them that supporting someone who has made racially insensitive statements while bowling over the role of judicial ethics in this government has gone too far this time and he must be cut loose. Now, Ryan walks the tightrope, as does his party, Republican voters, Republican leadership, and anybody else seeking to not be stained by what they perceive as a tinge of racism in trade for their vote. We thus begin there with a polarizing controversy with the political animal. Less bile, less partisan hack job, more meat to the political bone. Former head of FEMA, now the afternoon drive radio talker lighting up the big stick at 630 KHOW in Denver, Colorado along the Front Range, Michael Brown. Joined by syndicated radio talker, president and founder of BOND, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny, and author of The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood, Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. And Reverend, I'm going to begin with you here. Let's first hear from Paul Ryan exactly what he said. He made it very clear how he feels about Donald Trump's recent comments on Judge Gonzalo Curiel. Here it is.
I'm not going to defend these kinds of comments because they're indefensible. I'm going to defend our ideas. I'm going to defend our majority. And I think our likelihood of getting these ideas into law are far more likely if we are unified as a party. And so I see it as my job as Speaker of the House to help keep our party unified. I think if we go into the fall as a divided party, we are doomed to lose.
All right, Reverend, I have heard some Republicans email me and get back to me with this very question. If you support someone who makes racist comments, are you then not condoning those racist comments?
Well, first, I want to say that Donald Trump has not made any racist comments at all. There's no such thing as racism. It's a right versus wrong, good versus evil. Donald Trump spoke truth when he said that this judge is against him. He doesn't feel that he's going to be treated fairly. It is true that the judge belonged to La Raza, an organization called La Raza, and it's also true that the judge is not for the wall around the border. So there's nothing wrong with what Donald Trump said. Paul Ryan, I'm very suspicious of him. He cannot be trusted. On one hand, he pretends to be for Donald Trump, yet he's going with this false assumption of racism. And he said, well, we have to defeat Hillary. But yet he's given Hillary and the liberal media something to fight with this fall against Donald Trump.
Okay,
also,
let me stop you there because I want to bring Michael into this,
Paul
please.
Ryan is a failure. He's fighting Trump harder than he fought against Barack Obama when he was running as vice president. I do not trust
all
Paul
points you have
Ryan
made. I
at
get all
all.
that. Let me interrupt for a moment because I want to make sure to bring Michael into this. I do want to point out two things. Number one, there is no evidence whatsoever that the judge is against Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form at this moment. Nothing has been proven. And number two, La Raza, you mentioned, the judge in question here is not part of the national La Raza group. He is part of a different La Raza group. I want to make that very clear. Michael, same question goes to you about Paul Ryan's comments.
I think Paul Ryan's doing exactly what he needs to do. And I think that is when we see racism, regardless of what our ethnicity is, when we see racism, we need to call it out. If I've got a friend that tells me a racist joke and I sit and just either chuckle under my breath or ignore it or don't say something, then I'm as guilty and I'm condoning what my friend says. And so I think we must speak out against it. The thing that's
why did I hear from you and Paul
Ryan? The thing that's driving me crazy about this issue with the judge in California is this. If the judge is biased, the United States Code has a procedure by which Trump's lawyers, who are bound to represent Trump zealously, if they believe the judge is biased, they can file a motion to recuse the judge. So it begs the question, why have the lawyers for Trump not done that? Because I believe the lawyers for Trump know there is no bias, and their motion to recuse the judge would be seen as frivolous.
I don't know how
Trump
true that is.
Simply out trying to. Trump is trying to prejudice the jury.
Why did I hear from you and Paul Ryan when Judge Sonia Sotomayor said that she felt that a Hispanic woman could better represent that culture more so than a white man could do it? If there's such thing as racism, to me, that was real racism at work. But I didn't hear you or Paul Ryan
Reverend,
or
I
any of the
agree.
liberals
Judge Sotomayor, by saying that, was making a racist comment. That's irrelevant to what we're talking about right here.
But see what? I mean, if he was able to say that and get away with it about the white man, why is it that Donald Trump has to be careful what he says about Hispanic or anyone else? And why is it called racism?
All right, Reverend, hold on a second. Let me let Michael answer. Michael, go ahead.
The reason it's racism is he called the judge out and said the judge is a Mexican and therefore cannot treat me fairly. The judge is not a Mexican. He is an American.
Reverend Peterson, the judge, Reverend Peterson, hold on one moment here. One moment here. The judge is not Mexican. He's American. You'll agree with that, correct?
Right, but he called himself a Mexican American. And that's all that Donald Trump is doing. And Donald Trump is saying that this guy he believes that this guy will not treat him fairly because Donald Trump is going to put a big, beautiful wall around the border.
Then let me ask you a question, Reverend Peterson, please. And we're just short on time.
Let Trump's lawyers file a motion to recuse the judge. If everybody's so damn convinced that this judge is biased, then file a motion to recuse him. Otherwise, everybody should just shut up about this judge.
Reverend Peterson, why then would he not then take that action if that is legally available to him?
Well, I'm sure that they will take that action.
But they have not.
I love the fact that Donald Trump is exposing these liberals in the same manner that liberals have gone after conservative Republicans over the last 60 years and been allowed to get away with it. It's unfortunate that we have the weak establishment like Paul Ryan, who allowed Barack Obama to literally bring America to her knees, and Paul Ryan didn't do anything about it to stop it. He is a coward, and I have no faith or trust in him at all.
Michael, I've only got about 40 seconds left, but there are those people who say that regardless of what Donald Trump has said, Paul Ryan is doing what needs to be done because he still has to back the Republican Party, and you've still got to defeat Hillary Clinton.
That's exactly right. And you put it so eloquently, Ed, by saying that Paul Ryan has to walk this tightrope. And I think the tightrope is this. As long as you speak the truth about what's going on, it's pretty easy to stay on that tightrope.
All right, then.
That's what Trump did, spoke the truth.
The issue, though, here comes down to the truth, Reverend, and I think we have two different sides of the truth here. People who believe it is racism, you don't believe it is racism. Michael, I'm going to give you one last shot. Do you think that what Donald Trump said was racist?
Yes, I absolutely do. By trying to claim that the judge is biased because of his ethnic background, by calling him a Mexican, I think that is racist.
Okay, Reverend
if I were a judge, I wouldn't tolerate that. Or if I were a litigant,
Reverend Peterson, 20 seconds. Reverend Peterson, 20 seconds. Last word.
They want to get rid of the white man, and Donald Trump is an example of a strong white man who has authority over his life. He's independent, and liberals cannot handle that. Even Oprah said racism will end when we can when all the old white people die out. So they really want to take Donald Trump out because he represents strength.
All right, gentlemen, we have to go on that. You're past your time, but I do appreciate it. Fiery indeed. Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, Michael Brown, thank you.